30 years after the end of the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia is strongly backing Bosnia and Herzegovina path to the European Union. Despite the political challenges in Republika Srpska, Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković shares why European integration now matters more than ever. In Europe Conversation. Let me start from the enlargement. Croatia is supporting enlargement of the European Union, especially Western Balkans. Do you have impression that Russia and China are benefiting from the delays in this process to increase its power in the region?
Croatia is very much in favor of the future enlargement of the European Union, both when it comes to countries in Southeast Europe, so our immediate neighbors, but also we have been supporting Moldova and we have been supporting Ukraine as well as Georgia on their path to the European Union. You are right, the slower the process is, the more influence of other global actors in the region we have, whether it's Russia, whether it's China, whether it's some other countries, and therefore we are advocating a structured and dynamic process within which the countries who are now in the process of accession negotiations will completely adopt the acquis communautaire, but also undertake serious reforms in order to sustain the market pressures once they join. But also they need to fulfill the criteria. Croatia is the last country to join the EU, now almost 12 years ago. It was a tough process. We also thought we should be in earlier than we actually were, but we fulfilled all the criteria, and I think your assessment is pretty right.
I understand that there are criteria, but maybe EU should also act more quickly.
The efforts that are now being made by the European Commission, especially the second Commission of Ursula von der Leyen, in my view, are far more determined than it was before. Since 2013, it's been 12 years. It's 2 commissions without enlargement and 2 parliament compositions without enlargement. I think that the mission letter this time is clearly stating that the enlargement is becoming a priority. We as Croatia would very much like to see that Bosnia and Herzegovina as our immediate neighbor, a country where Croats are constituent and people with equal rights with Bosniaks and Serbs should move towards the dynamics that other countries of the region have, and we want to help them. Last year, we brought President of the Commission, Madame von der Leyen, at the time the Dutch Prime Minister, to Sarajevo, changing the mood, and finally in March last year, giving the go-ahead at the level of European Council to open negotiations. I think now it's the time to go forward and also in this process change the electoral law in order to allow the election of legitimate representatives in the presidency of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
And what about Serbia?
Serbia is currently undergoing a very long-lasting period of protests against the government and the president due to, let's say, unfortunate events. First, the killing in the school by a very young child, and then another murder in the vicinity of Belgrade, then the fall of the cover at the train station in Novi Sad. So many unpredicted things happened which no government or state, neither Serbia or anybody else's, could have influenced. But these protests have now endured for much longer than before. We understand that Serbia also wants to make the path towards the European Union faster. It needs to fulfill the criteria, and we hope that there is no destabilization of the region of Southeast Europe. This is critical from our perspective. You
support Serbia as well?
We support all the enlargement, but with the precondition that everybody fulfills the criteria.
Recently it was the defense agreement between Croatia, Albania and Kosovo. Do you think that you are threatened by someone?
No, this agreement was a routine agreement signed between the ministers of defense, very transparent. It's published on the website of the Croatian government. It passed the government procedure as an information. I think we only put on paper what already exists in terms of defense cooperation between the Croatian Ministry of Defense, Albanian Ministry of Defense and Kosovo Ministry of Defense. This agreement has no objective to endanger anyone. Neither did we feel threatened by anybody anybody else. So this narrative that was echoed after this agreement was signed was, in our view, false and unnecessary.
But I'm asking you, because it was also an agreement between Serbia and Hungary.
Yes, but Serbia and Hungary actually have the agreement in defense domain already, and the only thing which was done now was the action plan in the implementation of this agreement. We don't believe that this agreement that existed before is any type of threat to Croatia.
But don't you think that there is escalation in Balkans region, I mean also Republika Srpska?
We are very much concerned with the situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina, especially in Republika Srpska, when it comes to the position of President of Republika Srpska, Mr. Dodik, due to the legal proceedings which are ongoing. Our message was to calm down, to respect the Dayton framework, which is the constitution of Bosnia and Herzegovina, based on the 1995 compromise, which is one state, two entities, three equal constituent peoples and others. And we are always very much concerned if there are developments which could threaten the functionality, stability, and the reform process. Our objective was to support the Council of Ministers, Madam Borjana Krišto, who is my counterpart, in the efforts to fulfill the criteria to open accession negotiations. So we would very much like that Bosnia and Herzegovina shifts from potential instability and these tendencies of secession when it comes to Republika Srpska to a more harmonious and functional situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina, where the EU path and reforms which are beneficial to citizens both in economic and social terms are implemented.
Do you think that Russia might try to destabilize the situation in Republika Srpska, in Bosnia and Herzegovina?
Well, first of all, Russia has been conducting an aggressive and occupational war against Ukraine for now 3 years and 3 months, plus the previous war 10 years ago. And this has been the violation of international law and everything that all of us were standing for. I think the majority of the international community, especially with the involvement of the United States and Ukraine and the contribution of the EU leaders, is to first reach ceasefire agreement in Ukraine, and then hopefully the peace agreement which would stop the military operations. We should always be very careful, but at the moment I think the major initiative which I started is that the European Council comes back to the region of the Southeast Europe, and therefore I agreed with the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, to have the issue of Bosnia and Herzegovina and the Western Balkans debated at our June European Council, because so many other crises, different international theaters which are complicated, have taken the attention from the leaders of the EU away from the Balkan topics.
You witnessed war in the region, in former Yugoslavia. What is the best way to proceed? How to keep peace? How to avoid the war?
Well, first of all, is to respect each other's borders, to respect each other's territories, each and every nation and people, to stick to the international law, and to promote the European path. The European path is the glue for functioning of all the countries in the right direction, and also for the reforms and the benefits for the citizens. This is, in our view, essential, and to have a sincere dialogue and build trust. Without building trust and continuous dialogue, there is always a chance for destabilization.
It's true that the United States played a crucial role in delivering peace in former Yugoslavia. How can you comment the current politics of Donald Trump in Europe? Aren't you concerned about his losing attraction in Europe, in Ukraine, in our region?
Well, there were certainly new elements in the second Trump administration which are currently on the table, but what also has been going on is the establishment of trust, dialogue, and ways to jointly work to address the burning crises and issues across the globe. I had an excellent meeting with Secretary Wright for energy policy. I believe that this 3 Cs initiative is an excellent different format for more cooperation between the United States and the participating countries. There are 13 of them in the energy policy. I think that the United States should stay committed to Europe, to the transatlantic partnership, in being a factor of stability and peace on our continent. And of course, to underscore the importance of NATO, because NATO has been a guarantor of collective security for 75 years, and I believe it should continue to be so.
Do you think that NATO is still stable, that NATO is still powerful?
I think so. I think that many of our countries have fulfilled the pledge when it comes to the spending on defense. Croatia, for instance, is spending 2.1% of our GDP. On modernization is 30%. We are planning to invest more. We are also working very much on the procuring European defense equipment, not only the American equipment, but we've been in the process from Eastern to Western military technologies. And we have so far increased our budget for defense more than 3 times. The idea is to multiply it even more in the years to come. And I think that the new white paper on defense, new instruments that the European Union has been preparing are strengthening our strategic autonomy and our capabilities and interoperability within the European Union. Last week, Croatia has completed its squadron of 12 fighter jets, French Rafales, which has altered our position in terms of our defense capabilities compared to before. And we have, of course, as many others, given a lot of military assistance to Ukraine over the past 3 years in order to provide them means to defend themselves and also defend the peace and freedom in Europe, not only in Ukraine.
Hvala najlepše.
Hvala vama.